What is up, anglers? We're back with California fishing news. It is February 12th, 2020. Before we get into the report, a couple things. Thank you. Last week, I think we had like 94 YouTube subs, and I asked you guys to subscribe so we can get over 100, and we now have 105 YouTube subs, so not a huge milestone or anything, but hey, small stepping stones, that's pretty cool. And also, thank you. I looked at the App Store, and I saw one more review was wrote, and a few more 5-star reviews were left. So thank you guys for doing that. If you haven't yet and you enjoy it, it only takes 1 second to hit the 5-star button in the app, and it only takes a minute to write, one nice sentence. It helps a lot, helps the algorithm, people find it. So thank you very much to people who did that. All right, well, let's get into it. This week saw some conditions really improve for surf fishing and a lot more reports coming in. This is the West Coast Surf Fishing Group on Facebook. It's the one that I use the most often. We saw just tons of big perch being caught, lots of 12, 13, 14-inch barred surf perch, everywhere from San Diego up to Morro Bay. And generally, the more north you go, they get the better perch, but in wintertime, it's a great time in San Diego County to get those big perch as well. They're eating everything. Some people are even using frozen anchovy, the gulp camo sandworms, mussels. The big perch eat the Lucky Craft flash minnows a lot. And yeah, whatever else you typically use in the surf, everything seems to be working all right. There was also a lot of halibut caught this week. In the surf, you're always going to get a lot of ratio of shorts. But some keepers caught some 24 inches, some bigger ones, and a lot of shorts caught. So it's time to go out there, put some time in, find the structure, and start hooking that lure. The good thing about winter is a lot of times you don't get nearly as many issues with the seaweed, the grass, the kelp, all the crap that's in the surf that makes throwing the flash minnow a pain in the butt or just not even feasible sometimes. A lot of that stuff's clear this time of year. There was even a report up in Morro Bay. This guy whacked like 6 big perch and got a striper up there too. So a few stripers I've heard of. Those are more north in Ventura, Morro, up that area. But there's been rumors of a couple stripers even caught in San Diego this winter too. I don't doubt it. There's usually a couple caught a year. But that's pretty cool. It's definitely on my bucket list. Even this guy got a nice calico in the surf. And guys on the rocks are getting some nice sargos, stuff like that too. And there's been a couple more corbina caught. I think I've talked about this before, but we get new listeners every week. Basically, I always grew up thinking corbina were strictly a summertime deal. You caught corbina in the summertime and not in the winter. They took off. This winter, though, and maybe the last couple winters, they've been some holdovers. I've heard some guys getting them blind when they're just fishing for perch. Here's the photo of the striper up in Morro Bay if you're watching this on YouTube. Aside too, if you just listen to this, it's also on YouTube. It's got some photos and some stuff there. And if you just watch this on YouTube, it's also in all the app stores, so you can look for it there depending on what you're doing. But yeah, so this year there's been corbina, and some people have even been seeing schools up in the shallows still. I know the last time I spent any time really at the beach was in January, and I did see a little patch of sand crabs. So I don't think there's a ton of sand crabs around, but for whatever reason, corbina are still around this winter, so you still got a shot at them. That's pretty cool. For resources for surf fishing, get on Facebook, join West Coast Surf Fishing. It's a great group. There's other ones that are a little bit bigger. I think they're cool too. There's California Surf Anglers. I just joined that one. But the bigger ones, sometimes you lose a little bit of the community aspect. But the more the merrier. So get into West Coast Surf Fishing for sure. Check out California Surf Anglers. And I'm sure there's other ones as well. Also, there's a guy who runs this website, Surf Fishing in SoCal. It's surffishingsocalsd.com. It's just a little blog and fishing reports. It's got some tutorials and some spots. But he went out, this was on the 6th, so the day I recorded the last one. Excuse me. But he got into a really, really good bite on the Lucky Crafts. He got a 23.5-inch halibut. His buddy got a just short halibut. They also caught a number of big perch, a couple of jack smelt like 15 inches. He's got the whole report on his website. So it's surffishingsocalsd.com. I like shouting out the other one, like small fishing pages and blogs and all that stuff, because I know how it is. And yeah, he's got a lot of good info there, so you can check that out on his website. Speaking of halibut, we're moving on from the surf to the kind of inshore stuff, but I saw more halibut posted this week than any other week so far this year. This guy said 2 drifts, 4 baits, 2 fish. A 37-inch halibut, or 39, excuse me, and a 27-inch halibut. He just said north of Mission Bay. This is a report on the California Inshore and Islands Fishing Reports Forum on Bloody Decks. But I also saw a whole bunch on social media posted, like People say it can be really boring. Sometimes you go 12 hours without a bite, and then you get one, and you get one nice legal. Other days, if you get on top of them, you can get bit right away. So some people think this fishing is very, very boring, but this time of year when you don't have a lot of options and rockfish is closed and all that, it's a great time to go get some halibut. Everyone knows halibut are some of the best eating fish out there. So go put some time in. If you catch a halibut, let me know. The last story we've been covering the past couple weeks about these winter yellowtail, I haven't really heard anything about them. It doesn't mean it's not happening. People don't talk about this stuff very much anyways, but there hasn't been any really reports about those, except for one that we're going to get to in this week's Catch of the Week, so that'll come to the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. As far as those party boats, a bunch of them, or a few were down in Colonet this weekend. Not a single yellowtail was caught, but still the excellent rock fishing that's happening down there. That's cool if you really want some rockfish, but Art's just coming in close, and the trips are like $360 plus your food, plus your tip. It's like a $500 day from Friday to Sunday morning to catch some rockfish. So personally, I'll hold out, but everyone's got different fishing budgets and different wants. So I'm sure they're still a great time, and they have been catching some really, really big lingcod. As far as the more local stuff, it's what we've been talking about: sand dabs, sculpins, some perch, a few calicos, a few sand bass. Those bites kind of vary. I think they've been better for private boaters, but for the party boats, they haven't been that excellent. The main change this week was yesterday, one of the boats out of San Pedro, 22nd Street Sport Fishing, had a boat go out. They had 17 anglers, and they landed 1,800 sand dabs. Crazy. Yes, there's no limit, no size limit, no number limit on sand dabs. There are millions of them out there. They get no pressure, really. The LA boats can run those trips because they have the clientele that appreciate it. Sometimes a snobby San Diego anglers don't want to go out and catch those little fish, but they really are delicious. And so that's an option. Keep an eye out. Another day they went out, they caught 300 of them. This 1,800 it's a ton of them to catch, but more than 100 a person. That is a lot of food. You can feed a lot of people with that. They're small, they're delicious. You can cook them up whole. So it's something to keep in mind if you've never done it. It's worth a shot. That's pretty much it for this party boats. Oh, there was one report in the South 9 still fishing good for rockfish. No other reports from the Coronados this week. But a lot of people are kind of holding out. We're already halfway through February. 2 weeks, we get the rockfish opener back in the U.S., and there'll be a lot more reports around everywhere. Moving on to largemouth. There was that cold front that blew through pretty much the whole state last week, and it killed the bite a little bit. Spring in California, we can get those really, a few nice days in February where that turns those fish on, and then one of the two of those storms pushes them right back down to deep water. This is kind of the reason why they say they relate to these points, or they like to be in areas with access to both deep and shallow water this time of year, because depending on how conditions, they can shoot right down or shoot right back up. I've heard of some very slow days this last week. One guy fishing in San Diego said he caught a few, but he had a boat in 50 feet of water and was casting out to 70 feet of water. A little different than the week before when we heard people were getting them, flipping them into toolies, but again, it doesn't take long for those fish to swim right back up. They can make that swim in less than a minute. So if the conditions turn right for them, I'm sure they'll be right back up on their normal springtime thing. If you follow me on Instagram, California Fishing News, I posted this today. But on this day, February 12th of last year, I caught this nice 5-ish pound fish at Lake Murray in San Diego, and I caught a limit that day. But the rest are smaller, but the one good one. And this week was also the week last year when I had my best half-day bass fishing ever. I took my float tube out to a local lake and caught a 7, I didn't have a scale on me, a couple 2s and a couple 4s, all in 3 or 4 hours from my float tube. I wrote a whole report about it. That's up on the website. Go to californiafishingnews.com, click on trip reports, and then click on the top left one. I'm not going to say the names. It gives away where the lake was. I want to make you guys do a little work if you want to get the report, but not too much. Just go to the website, check it out. It's a pretty entertaining read if you ask me. But yeah, it's that time of year. A couple good days. It's time. I'm excited. I haven't got to do any bass fishing yet, but in about a week, I'm taking some time, and I'm going to do a lot of fishing that week. So look for that report. It'll be a couple weeks before I get to do it all, but I'm excited. I'm hoping we get some good weather and all those fish turn on. Besides that, there was a report. I won't say the lake, 'cause it's another one of my favorite local lakes, but if it's online if you look around. But there was a 4.5 pound bass caught on a chunk of mackerel where these guys were catfishing. Pretty cool. This lake said the bass fishing has been really slow. No one's really getting them. And these guys go out, drop some stinky fish for catfish, and end up catching the biggest bass of the month there. So, what that told me is a testament to how much scent matters. I've never been one that's really used scent on baits and bass fishing. But when I was in one of the tournaments in college, the guys that crushed us, said they were putting scent on their worms and they were drop shotting them, and they think it helped the fish help the fish bite and help the fish hold on longer. And I know when Oliver caught his 17.4, he's got the Catch to Catch on his YouTube channel. That's Oliver and I, Big Bass Dreams, of course. He was putting on some of that Bass Dynasty scent on his swim bait. So if the fish are a little picky, it never hurts. I'm thinking about getting some more scent from my tackle box, especially after that nice fish was caught on mackerel. That's it for the largemouth this week. Go out there and get them, guys. It's springtime, a couple nice days, and it's time to catch one of those big ones in the pre-spawn. This week, Catch of the Week goes out to Emerson. He is fishing_in_SoCal on Instagram. He was out kayak fishing. They were just fishing for sand dabs in about 100 feet of water. Dropped a squid strip down to the bottom, gets bit right when it hits the bottom, and ends up landing this 28-pound yellowtail. So that is the only yellowtail I heard of this week, and it was not from the same zone. The zone we were talking about the past couple of weeks was kind of Imperial Beach, super south, up to Solana Beach or Del Mar. This one is a little bit north of that. I won't say the location, but if you go look at his Instagram and look at the photos, there's some hints there. So if you're familiar with the San Diego area, you'll be able to figure out where he was. But check it out. That's pretty awesome. Just went out sand dab fishing, ends up hooking this almost 30-pound, beautiful-looking yellowtail. For events this week, the only event I really want to talk about is the Pacific Coast Sportfishing Festival is this weekend. It's for the 14th, 15th, and 16th, and it's at the Orange County Fairgrounds. I'm just going to play their little commercial. I'm not sure how this audio would turn out, but I'm going to play this commercial. It's 30 seconds long to let you guys know about that event.
Kick off the 2020 season at the 11th Annual Pacific Coast Sportfishing Festival, Orange County Fair and Event Center, February 14th, 15th, and 16th. Pacific Coast Sportfishing has put together another stellar lineup of seminars with some of the most knowledgeable and experienced professionals in the business. Learn about deep dropping and making your time on the water as productive as possible. Exhibits, boats, and incredible early season discounts. Bring the entire family. Orange County Fair and Event Center, February 14th, 15th, and 16th.
So that's it there. If you're in Southern California and you're not doing anything this weekend, I always think those events are fun. I've been going to Fred Hall with my dad since I was a little kid. Always used to go and catch the trout in the little pool they set up as a kid and climb on all the boats, and I mean, I still love it to this day. I haven't been to this one. It sounds like it's kind of the same deal, maybe a little bit smaller. I'm not really sure, but I figure it's going on. They're a cool thing, so go check out that if you're not doing anything this weekend. That's it for the report this week, guys. Not much from NorCal, not many boats were getting out. There was a couple sturgeon caught in the Delta, some striper fishing going on up there, and I'm sure the trout fishing is still good, but there wasn't anything too worth saying. Oh, one thing I missed about largemouth, Tactical Bassin. I talked about them last week. If you're watching this on YouTube and you fish for bass, I'm sure you already know about Tactical Bassin. It's a pretty rad channel, very informative stuff. But they released a video just today about 4 must-try baits when bass refuse to bite. And they just talk about finesse fishing, and they talk about the conditions that we faced this week, which is they went out this week right after that cold front, and it's, the week before they found big schools of fish, they were biting, and they went out and it was a lot tougher day. So they talk about that, the realistic side of things, so you can find some information there if you're interested. Besides that, thank you guys for listening. You can like us on Facebook, on Instagram, like us on YouTube, subscribe, leave a review, 5-star rating on the app. Doesn't take very long, and if you're bored and want to do some reading, go to CaliforniaFishingNews.com, click on trip reports. I've uploaded the 4 trip reports that are there. They're all ready to go to read. There's a story about the first bluefin I caught back in 2016, about my biggest bluefin I caught in 2017. That fishing really went off on the 60-mile bank for those 150-pounders. About my trip on the Pacific Voyager in 2018 when it was insanely good fishing, but for like the 50 to 70-pound grade fish. And the story about kind of bass fishing, my bass fishing journey and fishing with my dad, and there's some hints about my trip last year there. So that's it for that week, guys, or for this week. Thank you very much. I'm going to try to do one next week. I've got a lot of stuff happening. I should be able to do one real quick. I'm not sure how in-depth it'll be. And then the week after is the week I'm taking a bunch of time off to fish, so I might not get one released that week. But the good news is the week after that is going to be March, so we're going to have a lot of new reports to look at, a lot of stuff to talk about then. So I'm looking forward to that. It's getting to be that time of year and people get a little more excited about fishing again. And if you like this, guys, just please tell your friends. It's going to grow via word of mouth. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you guys next week.